In this lesson, we're going to use Unsharp Mask to sharpen the image. This is a 72 ppi image. I work in television mostly, although I have worked in print. There's no standard formula. It's going to depend on the picture, the resolution, what your output is going to be, print, TV, web. So you'll have to make a decision picture by picture. The more you work with it, the more comfortable you'll be with it. And there are a number of other tools that are used for sharpening. We're just going to focus on one at a time. I would normally make this a smart object, but we've only covered smart objects at this point a little bit. So instead, since this is destructive, I'm just going to do a Command J and make a backup. So we're going to do Unsharp Mask on here. I'm going to go to Filter, Sharpen, Unsharp Mask. I kind of zeroed everything out here. Let me move the layers over here. You don't really need to watch the layers as much as we need to watch the image. So we're at 100% here, and this is actually 100%. But I'd like us to be able to see it a little bit better. So I'm going to Command or Control plus. So we're just in a little tighter. You can see what's happening. I'm going to just crank the amount all the way to the maximum. And then I'm going to crank the radius way up. See how it kind of solarizes the image? The radius, I'm going to cancel out of here for a moment. I made like a little handout for Unsharp Mask. This is edge contrast or detail. This one reminds me of the tolerance in Magic Wand because this looks for edge contrast to sharpen the image, and this is how many pixels outside of the edge it will affect. Now the threshold I think is a little counterintuitive because 0 means everything's affected and 255 means nothing will be impacted. But what's good about threshold is that parts of the picture, and I was working with a different picture here, parts of the picture that you don't want pixelated, if you've got an amount and a radius that might pixelate part of the image that isn't the edge, then you pull in some thresholding. Different sharpening tools deal with this differently, but we'll get there. So I'm going to try the Orchid to see if we can get a good picture of what this does. My friend Brian Shelton took this picture. Let's go back to Unsharp Mask. And I'm going to bring the amount up. I'm just kind of guessing here to about 100. This is the preview. You can sort of see it in here. Let me unclick and click this. Not that much. So we're going to bring the radius up. The radius I don't usually do gigantic leaps with, but look at, it's at a 2. Look at the difference right there. If you do too much radius, you get this haloing effect, but this green part, I believe, is part of the picture. If I cancel for a moment, I've got 102. We still have this effect there. So I'm going to go back here, filter, and I can go right here. The last filter I used, it'll do it to it. It won't bring up my dialog box. There we go. So we had 100 and we had 2. You can type it in also. You can also scrub this way and you can pull this thing. So there's the radius all the way up with 100, with the amount just at about 100. So I'm going to bring the radius back down to 2 because I kind of liked what was starting to happen there. I'm going to see what threshold does. See, too much threshold, and now all of this is blurred out. And it doesn't it defeats the purpose. How's that? So I'm going to bring the threshold to 10 and see what we get. See, that really sharpens that image. So that's pretty good. I think that's good enough. It'll be crisper on TV. HD is what most TV is these days. And it would probably work on the web as well. So we've got a 2.1 radius, an amount of 100, and a threshold of 10 to protect so these leaves don't get too pixelated. So I'm going to click OK. Now over here, I'm going to turn off the eyeball to the one that we impacted. See the difference? It's a little soft without the sharpening. So the sharpening kind of brings everything back into focus.